Okay, what we're looking at in this Desmos activity is practicing solving by factoring, which we just took some notes on. So the 4 steps that we wrote down in our notes were we set the equation equal to 0, we factor completely, we then set each factor equal to 0, and then we solve for the variable. So what we're going to be doing in this activity is that we're going to be filling in the pieces to get our final answer to go through all 4 steps. So let's kind of walk through one together. We're given the equation x squared plus x minus 20 is equal to 0. So the first thing we want to do is set the equation equal to 0. Well, that's already done. Step 2, we need to factor completely. So we need to factor x squared plus x minus 20. Remember, when we're factoring, we need to think of 2 numbers that are going to multiply to negative 20, but are going to have to add to positive 1. So the first thing I did was I listed everything that I know that multiplied to negative 20. Negative 1 and 20, negative 2 and 10, negative 4 and 5, and then because it's also negatives, I can say 1 and negative 20, 2 and negative 10, 4 and negative 5. I'm looking for the combination that when I add them together, I get a positive 1. So hopefully we see that the combination is going to be a negative 4 and a positive 5. So I write that right in, x minus 4 and x plus 5. Now, step 2 is done. Step 3 says I'm going to set each factor equal to 0. So now what I need to do is say x minus 4 is equal to 0 and x plus 5 is equal to 0. Step 3 is done. And the last step is solve for my x, or solve for my variable. So here I have x minus 4 is equal to 0. I'm trying to get x by itself. So here I add 4 to both sides. And I'm going to get that one of my answers for x is positive 4. For the second equation, I'm going to subtract 5 on both sides. And I see that my other answer is negative 5. So what we're doing in this Desmos activity is we're actually filling in right on the Desmos screen, not in our notebook, so we can go along and kind of give feedback when needed. So we're filling in for these blank spaces. So everywhere that I had blue, you're going to be filling those spots in for the Desmos activity. So if there's any questions, please reach out to your teacher.